Doujins, Doujinshis, Doujins, Doujinshis, Doujins, Doujinshis. I'm tired. I apologize. Hey friends, it's Aki Dearest. So the topic for this video is going to be covering doujins and doujinshis. Tis going to be a little bit of an anime one-on-one video right here. But for those of you that are new to the anime community, you will probably hear the words doujin and doujinshi at least 100 times while you're still here. And for the people that are already familiar with these terms, they probably clicked on the video hoping that I would flash a picture of Levi fucking the shit out of Eren. I don't know. Maybe. So I'm going to define what a doujin and a doujinshi is. I'm going to be telling you guys the purpose of it and certain legal things that have been surrounding this. But first off, if you guys are unfamiliar with what doujins and doujinshis are, the definition basically goes hand in hand with both of them. The technical term for doujin is given to a group of people with the same common interests, activities, and hobbies. The second definition of doujin is essentially the same thing as doujinshi, which are basically self-published works, usually done by amateurs. Now, the works of doujinshis are usually fan-made. Now, there's still doujinshis that are complete original works, but most of the money for doujinshis have usually racked in from the fan-made stuff. A lot of the times when you go to a doujinshi section of a convention, you'll probably find that a lot of them are erotic. And mainly the purpose of these doujinshis is to keep a fandom up and running. It's also a really great opportunity and marketing strategy for artists to get their work out there. So there'll be a lot of people that are just screaming for two people to be together, and lo and behold, there will be a very kind artist to just bring that into reality. A lot of these pairings are really popular ones, such as Naruhina. There's a lot of yaoi couples out there for several series, and then there's some that I just wonder why. But regardless, doujinshis are a very big gem within the anime community. Now, there's several unfortunate things that you have to know about doujinshis if you are ever interested in collecting them. For one, they're pretty fucking expensive. But for the right reasons if you look at it. Like I said, doujinshis are self-published, so the artist is usually on a budget, so they don't usually really have the time or money to mass produce these. Secondly, they're mainly just done in Japan. Most doujinshis are made and published within Japan. And because of that, they're not going to be translated most of the time. So if you happen to know somebody that has like a lot of physical copies of doujinshis that are having English translations, my god. If you're to look online for doujinshis, you'll probably find them ranging at an optimistic price of 15 bucks up to almost like 50 bucks. So on an average scale, you'd probably be paying $20 to $25 just for a possible 10-page doujinshi. That's most likely not even going to be translated in English. But there's still a lot of people that I personally know that still try to collect these simply just because they like to have it, even if they can't read Japanese. Because maybe they just want to look at the pictures of, again, Levi fucking the shit out of Eren. I don't know. You can also find them at anime conventions if there's ever one near you. There's always going to be like that little booth that will probably have several boxes filled with doujinshis, most of which still are not going to have any English translations. Most doujinshis are actually very erotic, so don't be surprised if you see an 18+ sign on them. Also, top 10 places that you can possibly find me if I'm ever at a convention. If you're looking for some good dramatical murder, don't imagine it to be less than 10 bucks. I'm not saying that I own them, but I'm saying that I may or may not spend about 25 minutes at this kind of booth. Now, these are just for physical copies. If you just want to read a webcomic, there's actually a lot of English translations that are available online. But I'm personally not a webcomic fan. I like to own my stuff in physical form. And you're still gonna have to go deep into the interwebs to find a good collection of English translated doujinshis. And obviously, the last place that you can go to find doujinshis is obviously in Japan, where the price is a lot lower and there's a lot more doujinshis surrounding you. But more specifically, you can find doujinshis at an annual event called Comiket. Comiket is an event in Japan where its main focus is just around doujinshis. There's big companies and people from just all over the world and throughout Japan that just come to this one event that's about 3 days, and I believe that it averages every year around 500,000 people. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. I wonder how many people like try to fap at this event. Now, there's been on and off slappings at Comiket simply because of doujinshi, which brings me to the next topic as far as legal issues go. So the weird thing about doujinshis is that it kind of falls under the same gray area as fan art, because that's pretty much what doujinshi is. And with fan art, there's always the debate of who really owns the copyright to whatever the work is. Even though this is my own work, even though this is my own representation of the character, I still don't technically own that character. And what's even more interesting is that Japan is already really strict strict when it comes to their copyright laws. And looking at the whole aspect of doujinshi, it's actually very illegal. And yet here we have one of the biggest gatherings in Japan that completely embraces this. So if you're thinking about ever wanting to make doujinshis in Japan, this is something that you kind of want to consider. The good thing about doujinshis is that with these bigger companies that make the anime, when they look at doujinshi for what it is, they usually don't bat an eye simply because they look at it as free promotion for their anime. So a lot of people that buy these doujinshi, it's only feeding the fandom, and you know, when you make something real, when a person wants two characters shipped with one another and an artist makes that a reality, that's some pretty big marketing on not only for the artist but for the company as well. So this is kind of a messy market to play around with. It's more like don't ask, don't tell. If you want to make a doujinshi, obviously try and get permission if you can, but don't worry too much if you're having a hard time trying to get permission for it. Usually when it comes to fan art and doujinshis, a lot of artists, what they'll do is that they'll just do it until the original artist or that company says something. It's a really messy world to be a part of, but if you're looking to do doujinshis, legal stuff is something that you might want to look into. So I hope you guys learned a little bit about doujinshis. If you guys have any questions about it, obviously, 'tis a community, my friends, so feel free to put it in the comments section down below. Subscribe to my channel for more anime and otaku related content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!